So, welcome to the latest episode of the Carlisle Q Sports Lounge, and today we've got Andy Butcher joining us as a guest, and Lawrence Swanny. So thanks very much for joining us, guys.
Welcome.
And in our series of talking about the history of the Carlisle League, in our centenary year, in our 100th year of competition, this episode is going to be about the two people that inspired the two main competitions we have. So, Alan Armstrong was an ex-player in the league, and our main billiards tournament is named after Alan. And Joe Brisco has the main snooker competition named after him. And we'll start with Joe. We'll start with talking about Joe. So basically, Joe was a player around Carlisle before I was around. I've never met the guy, and I believe, Andy, that back in the day, back in the 1970s, he paid a lot of money for the trophy. Is that about right?
Yeah, Joe was a real character. I mean, he was a butcher originally, and he was a big guy. I never saw him play snooker or billiards, but I played in the team with his son, Rodney Brisco. Now, they sold the butcher's business and went into being bookmakers. And they had a shop on the corner of Butchergate leading into London Road. And they also had a very successful one down at Denton Home, run by Rodney. Joe was this big character. He had when I knew him certainly, he had this really thick wig, which made Keir Starmer's hair look sort of fluid, you know. He was really, but he was not a guy to be messed with, I would think. Owned quite a bit of property. He owned quite a lot of property at the end of Butchergate, and as mentioned, you know, very successful as a bookmaker following the butchery business.
Well, it makes sense that he was a big guy and not to be messed with then.
Yeah, that's. I mean, Rodney, his son, who I know really well. I'm probably going to meet up with Rodney tomorrow, and we played in the same team together from here in Spencer Street, which was the Cons Club back in the day. And he told me that he was quite not a man to mess with anyway.
Yeah. Was that the days when the snooker table was in the middle floor and there was two tables?
There were two tables back then. It was a great snooker room, really good. There was this table and another one. A lovely room, a brilliant place to play.
Excellent. And
sorry, Mike, it's weird saying that. Rodney Brisco, the bookie,
yeah,
his bookmakers was right next to Tony Peary's dad's fish and chip shop.
Right, yeah.
Tony Peary's dad also played about the same time, and their shops right next to each other in just off Denton Street,
Yeah.
near the Prince of Wales.
Was that Ronnie? No, it wasn't Ronnie, was it? Ronnie wasn't Tony's dad.
Oh, what was his name?
Ronnie
Peary.
Yeah.
Tony Peary's his son lives at Agmund. He plays
noted for having the best patties in Carlisle.
Correct.
Apparently.
100%.
Fantastic. You say Prince of Wales, I know exactly what you're talking about as well,
It's
even
a car park now.
though I've only been living in Carlisle for 19 years, I know what you mean, yeah.
Yep, right next to each of them shops.
Yeah.
You could lose your money and get yourself fish and chips on the way home. Drown your sorrows.
if you get a few pennies, yeah.
Aye.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Joe Brisco, who we've got the main snooker tournament named after, and Alan Armstrong was a little bit later than Joe, playing around here, and I've never met the guy. I've heard a lot of good things from the likes of like Manny Lancaster, said that Alan basically taught him how to play on the big table.
Yeah, true.
And was an absolute gentleman. And you got any good memories of Alan teaching people to play, or any
I taught a few of them in the Curragh, like back in the 80s and in the 90s and that, like. But the biggest compliment I can pay Alan is Dave Salter's always said the best match player I've ever seen in Carlisle. Not the best player, but the best match player.
Yeah.
And I just thought, that's about right. That's about right.
And if you're teaching Manny Lancaster how to play, you're pretty good
Well,
there.
he done a good job, didn't he?
He did a very good
I
job.
mean, he taught one of the best players who's ever been in Carlisle, Mally, yourself, Mike, Dave Nixon.
Yeah,
Fabulous players.
I rate Manny very highly. So
Oh, without a
it's,
doubt.
it'd be nice to see him playing again if he's watching. It'd be lovely to see him playing again at some point in the near future.
Just hope he remembers where the South End club is.
So yeah, Alan played from the Curragh, which has changed hands about 3 or 4 times recently, and obviously your team
4 times in
originated
10 years,
from
right?
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
and your team originated from there, and I say now you're in the South End. Are you finding the change to the South End to be a good one?
Oh, the South End, they couldn't have been any nicer with us to give us all memberships and bent over backwards. If Mark Messenger and Maggie were still in the Curragh, we'd still be playing from their mind.
Yeah,
Because they had 2 good tables in there.
and the food as well.
Oh, everybody likes to be drawn away to the Curragh in a cup competition, that's for sure. Oh,
Absolutely.
great. Mark
Absolutely.
couldn't help himself with the food, would he? Well, and Maggie, sorry. But no, Alan. I first played against Alan in the early 90s. I was playing for which was the Upperby Institute. Now it's Upperby Social Club.
Yeah.
And we had a few ding dongs. He'd normally beat me on his table. I'd normally beat him on my table.
Yeah.
And then my abiding memory was I was watching him practicing one night in the Curragh 25 years ago. He potted all 15 reds, all 15 blacks, and missed a straight yellow with all the colours on the spots, wobbled in the jaws, and we all went, no. 120 is the yellow.
It's always stuff like that,
Yep.
isn't it?
But I mean, I can tell you a lot more about Alan. I've known Alan, I knew Alan from 1971 when we started Bishop Goodwin School together.
He was a good footballer as well, wasn't
Very good footballer, very good footballer. The Ipswich Town once sent scouts up in 1974ish to watch him, myself and another lad who never got trials with Ipswich for one reason or another, but it was Alan. We were almost surprised that Alan didn't get the trials in the other 2 hooks, because that's how good he was.
Yeah.
Great footballer. And type 1 diabetic as well.
Yeah.
From he was 21 till the day passed, the horrible day, 29th of January 2015. 50 years of age.
Far too young. Far too young. So was there any other sports that Alan was good at? Obviously, he's a brilliant footballer and snooker player and
He's a
billiards
great
player.
footballer. We played in the same school team at Bishop Goodwin, as I say.
Yeah.
And then I think he went to play on. I don't know if he played for the county or not. I know he played for St Aidan's when he went there, because most of them went to St Aidan's from Goodwin. I went to Arabic with another couple of people.
Yeah.
Secondary school. But me abiding memory playing football with him one day was actually on Goodwin School field. I can't remember who we were playing. And I'll remember it to the day I die. A guy in our defence passed the ball to me, and I just opened my legs and let the ball run through. And he ran through, and he went to like that way with the keeper. The keeper dived down, and he walked around the keeper, put the ball on the line, and got down and headed over the line and went, "What are you doing down there?" The place was in hysterics. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just some of George Best would do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got the ball on the line, go down and headed it over the line, and looked at the keeper. "What are you doing down there?" Just a total Mickey take, like.
Yeah.
But a great footballer, good snooker player, good billiard player.
Yeah, I think we've all met people like that that are just naturally good at
Naturally
sport.
gifted.
Any sport, and I bet he's good at golf as well, if you ever tried it.
I wouldn't be surprised,
Yeah,
I
bet he
was,
was.
eyes to ball contact.
Yeah, squash, tennis, anything you try, and bet he was decent at.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, big loss.
Yeah.
We were obviously I play with T and Neil, his 2 younger brothers, in the South End, and that was a massive shock. Shock when that happened. But no, just good memories of Alan for everybody connected with the Curragh and various football teams that he played for.
Yeah.
Very, very good at what he did.
Well, I was saying he's become a legendary figure. He's got the main competition named after him, so
Yeah.
it just goes to speak to the man, doesn't it?
Correct.
So back to you, Andy, and of course Joe Brisco. When John took over the league, think it was last year actually, we started to look into some of the history of the competitions, and I put on some of the socials, like the all-time winners of the Armstrong and the Brisco, and the person that won the most Briscoes in the history since Joe bought the trophy himself was actually Kenny Edwards.
Right.
Kenny Edwards won it 9 separate times.
Really?
For someone that preferred billiards, it's one hell of an achievement as well.
Oh.
So
Well,
again,
he was a great snooker player as well, Kenny. I mean, I was very, very lucky because although Kenny played for the Liberal Club, he used to come into the Cons Club sometimes of an early evening, and I got to play with Kenny a bit, and he was just an absolute gentleman, a really good player at both games.
yeah. I remember my debut in the billiards after I moved up here was away at the Liverpool Club when Kenny Edwards' team was there, and for some reason, despite I'd never played billiards before, my captain at the time, Martin, decided to put me on at number 1 against Bob Zool, and got an absolute leathering, an absolute destruction. But Kenny was there that night. It was the first night that I met him, and again, all their team was good. You know, some old names. Tony Pierre was playing, and Bob Proudfoot was playing as well. So some great old names,
The
and
Liberal
some
Club had
great
some-
old players.
Some great players back in the 80s.
Yeah,
On my day,
Wonderful team.
the main man was John Moran. I
Aye.
don't know whether people
again, I've
will
been,
still remember John, but in my opinion, he was the best amateur player that I've seen. I always used to reckon, you know, the way snooker is, if you're playing, the other guy can't play, so you have a chance against anybody. But I never thought I had a chance against John. I remember playing him in here one night in the Brisco Cup. I broke off. He made a 65. He broke off the next frame. I played a shot. He made a 67. It was all over in about 5 minutes. But I did manage to get to the final of the Brisco once and played John. And the nearest I ever got to him was on that night. I got to a pink in one of the frames, but he was just outstanding.
yeah,
And I saw him once play for the England amateur team in the Liberal Club that night, and one of the players in that team was Willie Thorne.
Right.
And Willie Thorne in those days had hair, believe it or not.
yeah,
He was a big smart guy and he had real class. You know, I thought John was a real top player, but you could see that there's another level, isn't there? And Willie Thorne definitely was on that level. He was going to be a great player, and then again, you know, he had his own weaknesses, didn't he? But a fabulous player.
yeah, and
More
again,
147s in practice than anybody else.
yeah,
Only Thorne.
yeah, and again, just a legendary figure that loads of people love. And if your legacy goes on, you know, you're a decent player and you're a nice guy, just like obviously Joe was and Alan was. When I first started getting into billiards, Swanny, I started to watch as well as play. So I had Peter Stanley come up and try and give us a little bit of help and advice. And I remember turning up to the Armstrong final one year, and it's yourself against Nigel on the main table and number 1 at the Portland Club. Was that your best run? Did you ever win the Armstrong?
No. Been in 2 finals, lost them both.
2 finals.
No, 3 finals, lost all 3.
Any memories of those games and playing again?
Yeah, being cheesed off when I go home.
Yeah, because again, I remember Manny a few years ago winning the Armstrong, Manny Lancaster, and at the presentation night he said, you know, this is the one that means a lot because it's named after Alan. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think Neil, his brother's been in 1 final.
Yeah.
And lost that as well. But I don't think anybody from other than Mally, I don't think anybody from the Cork ever won it. Maybe a couple of finals, as I say, but nothing than getting the finals.
Yeah.
Beaten finalists.
Of course, this year Paul Cowan was beaten finalist this year, and I think he'll change that soon. I think he'll win more than 1 in the next few years. He's such a brilliant player. Being your teammate, you know Paul
Well,
better than most of us. What a talent he is at billiards
He's just got.
and snooker.
Oh, aye, yeah. I'd say he's probably a better billiards player than snooker player, but his improvement last season in the billiards outstanding.
Yeah, and
Just
only lost one league game
Yep.
and won one of the other singles competitions, and
Yep.
was finalist in the Armstrong. So, and he practices lots. So they've got all that talent, and what a player. So maybe Paul Cowing will be the player from the current team to
Yep.
to get the Naylor Trophy. I think
Yep.
it's more than a
he's
distinct possibility.
He's deservedly number one in our team. That's not going to change anytime soon.
Yeah.
But great player.
I was,
Great
I
cue.
was reffing in the counties when he made I think it was a 98 break,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the only time I've ever had to consider the number of losers, because Peter Stanley signalled to me he'd made 10, and at my standard of billiards it doesn't crop up.
Yeah, I remember that game well, because I think Peter had a 40 break before Paul's 98, and then Peter had like a 50 break straight afterwards, and he was still like 30 behind. Again, just shows you how good Paul is when he's on his day. So
Good snooker player, but a very good billiards player.
yeah, amazing at both, and Paul's a bit of an expert at the red ball game, which again our friend Gary Rogers is a massive fan of and does a load of coaching videos about, and I've not seen anyone, not even on like the pro tour, apart from the top 4 or 5 players, that can match Paul's red ball game. So yeah, maybe he's the one from the Curragh to get there. It'd be lovely to see Neil or T have a run
Without
as
a
well.
doubt.
It'd be lovely to see. So they're lovely people as well.
Mm.
I met Neil when I first moved here, my first season playing, because I think your team had a couple of years out and then had to restart in the 3rd division at the time. And I signed on for the Buffs in the 3rd division. I didn't even know there was a snooker league till I ran into Chris Bray in a taxi, and he said, "Come play for me." And the first thing that Chris said is the one you got to watch out for is Neil Armstrong. He's the Curragh's #1, and he's a really brilliant player. So yeah.
He's another
You mentioned
better
those.
billiards than snooker.
Oh, sorry, Swanny.
No.
You mentioned those Guy Rogers YouTube videos. They're really well worth watching for anybody that hasn't taken a look at them. And you can see what can be done with a red ball, but he's just very, very helpful guy. He answered a question that I asked about the degree of a half ball, and he said forget about how many degrees it is, just get it in your head. Play some shots that are natural half balls, and get the position in your head without worrying about how many degrees it actually is. Really good advice.
Yeah, I got similar advice than that from Peter Stanley, who essentially is the person that's coached me, and he just said, make a mental picture, make like a photograph of the half ball angle, and go from there. Yeah. So we'll wrap it up there. Thanks very much for your time, Swanny. Thanks very much for your time, Andy, and I hope everyone watching enjoyed that, and join us for our next episode. Coming out soon.
I could probably tell you a lot more stories about Joe's son, Rodney, but not for not for public knowledge. But he's a real character, is Rodney.
Yeah.